So, first of all, I would like to start with saying that Streetcar Named Desire is a beautiful piece of literature, and some of the themes are quite intense, so it makes a lot of sense as to why it saw censorship and maybe even some banning. I think the main thing that attests to the censorship aspect is the physical abuse and quite frankly, some of the relationships shared between close-knit family members, close friends, things like that. I think that the abuse and the rape and everything like that, everything supporting that, Stanley as a character overall, even, I would say that is the main contributor to its censorship. I would say that some of the things that attested to Stanley being the way he was is the situations that he found himself in, and more or less the situations that he put himself in. I think that all of these characters, they're very unique and very complex, and I think that it would be a challenge for anybody to act these roles, especially for some of the emotion that some of these actors or these characters feel. I think that just the constant state of power that is needed to be possessed by Stanley is the main contributor to why he is the way he is. He's a very intimidating individual. He's a big guy, which attests to why he thinks he can dominate, I believe it's Blanche. I don't know, I'm bad with names. But Stanley, in my opinion, really is essentially the key piece to the puzzle, because when things start to fall apart with him, things fall apart all across the map. I mean, with how things ended with Blanche and her sister, and just the constant state of people pushing away the facts and not necessarily addressing the truth of the situation. I lost my train of thought. I'll move on to a different point. Another thing that I really enjoyed about this play was the dynamics between Blanche and her sister. Going back to that, I think that Blanche is a very unique character that I don't want to say that it depicts this ideal life of a woman, because it definitely doesn't, but it depicts this idea of a trophy wife and being able to be protected by your spouse or your loved one, and putting all of your heart and soul into your family. And while yes, not having a profession in these days might be looked down upon, but in those days, a woman who is willing to dedicate that much to her family, I think it's admirable. She just, it was very unfortunate, the situation that she was in, because she wanted a child and she wanted to have a happy family. And while yes, the show ended with what looked like more or less happiness for these individuals, we can't really believe that based off of what happens in the show. I think that overall in the show, it does a great job of bringing in the audience on that emotional roller coaster of these life events, and seeing that everyone goes through shit, and we each have our own way of dealing with it. Some ways make better literature, as seen as to why this is one of the best pieces ever written. But it's because of the drama. It's because of the trauma that is experienced and everything like that. Overall, it was a great read.